Discretion PowerPoint by Tyler Service, Ottawa University, Ethics, November 8th, 2019. Discretion. What is it? The definition of discretion is the freedom to decide what should be done in a certain situation. So, how does discretion apply to public safety? Public safety being police, fire, EMS, medical personnel, and corrections, among a few. Because I'm a police officer, I will start with discretion in policing. Every level of police work, especially at the micro level, involves choice on the part of the peace officer. This refers to the everyday patrol officer who deals with the public on a day-to-day basis. So why is this discretion important to police? Discretion is used in every aspect of police work, from the contact to arrest. Police can choose actions to take within the laws that they enforce. This discretion is important for both police and the community. Discretion, when used fairly, can show real concern and empathy for a community. But when discretion is used with bias or malice, it can be destructive. So what is the connection between ethics and discretion? Discretion is a necessary and desirable part of policing and involves selecting among several possible courses of action. Wise exercise of discretion by police officers demands ethical choices. That's from Ethics and Decision Making. The correlation between discretion and ethics are important to successful police work. If police make discretional choices with bad ethics, this can lead to corruption and the loss of the public's trust. Loss of public trust by using unethical decisions. When the police lose the trust of the community that they serve, their effective police work becomes almost impossible. This means without the public's trust, the intelligence that we gain from the public is destroyed. So the police must resort to using proactive enforcement. These are in the forms of traffic stops and subject stops. Now, although these are tools that the police use, they can become troublesome when they are the only tool that they use. They can further damage the relationship with the community because the community will see the police as heavy-handed or unyielding. With the public trust, officers use intelligence gained from the public to fight crime with specific criminal targets. This trust is only gained when the police are transparent and use ethical judgment when enforcing the laws. An example of unethical violations are the Chicago police ethic violations. In 2017, the Justice Department investigated the ethic violations made by the Chicago Police Department. The ethics violations occurred in the poorer neighborhoods, and once they were exposed and changes were made, the same poor who were violated by the police now became the victims of higher crime and violence. That is because the police were keeping crime down in the poor areas by fear and corruption. So when their crimes came to light and were stopped, there was a void that was filled by crime and increasing violence. Moving on to discretion in fire departments. Fire personnel use discretion in life or death situations. For example, in a worst-case scenario, there's a school shooting. Fire personnel enter the school with multiple victims to be treated. They have to use discretion when they triage their victims and who gets helped first and who gets transported first. Fire also uses their discretion on how to fight fires. So they can either be offensive and fight the fire by going in and being aggressive with it, or they can stay outside and fight the fire defensively. Firefighters also have the option to decide whether to transport a subject to the hospital or not. Firefighters' discretion and ethics. Firefighters' ethics are just as important as the ethics of police when they're dealing with the public. It would be unethical for fire personnel to treat or not treat anyone based off of the color of their skin, their sexual preference, their religion, or any other discriminatory practice. This would be unethical for them to choose who to help when those are in need. Fire personnel should make decisions using sound ethics. This will help them avoid litigation. Unfortunately, fire departments, just like police departments, are not without their unethical behavior. Some examples of unethical behavior in the fire service are due to sexual misconduct, drug use, misuse of technology, theft, and cheating. Unethical behavior breaks community trust, just like it would in the police force, and it reflects badly not only on the department, but on the fire service. Civilians trust firefighters to keep them safe and responsibly use public money and the resources that they're given. Fire personnel have access to sensitive personal information from social security numbers, birth dates, and health records. Without ethics, this information could be and has been used criminally. Ethics case against Chief Tim Thiebaud. Thiebaud was an assistant Harvey fire chief. He had been fined $10,000 for selling more than $37,000 in equipment to his own fire department. In this above case, Chief Thiebaud used his position as the chief of fire to line his own pockets, as he used his own business to sell equipment to the fire department that he worked for. This was a gross misuse of public funds, as he often charged more than the cost. So what can be done to ensure ethical behavior in public safety? Well, we need to remember that a few bad apples spoil the bunch. We need to mitigate how many bad apples there are. In Ethics and Compliance Initiative, there are 5 steps that will help develop ethical standards. The first step is to formalize your expectations and make it clear about which behaviors are and are not acceptable. A lot of police departments have this in what they call their general orders. Number 2, you have to ensure that your leaders exhibit proper behavior. They have to set the example for those they lead. Number 3, a department has to be diligent about enforcing the policies that they make. They have to enforce them fairly and equally across the board. Number 4, they have to praise positive behavior. People react positively when they're praised positively. It's as simple as that. Number 5, they need to promote community involvement. You cannot have the us versus them mentality and make ethical decisions that will support a community. So in conclusion, if public safety, like police and fire, remember during their hiring and training process to focus on the 5 steps of ethics, as stated in the last slide, they will find the employees they hire will be more productive with less ethical violations. Hiring is the first step in determining the character of potential employees, and so it is the most important in weeding out the unethical. By demanding and demonstrating ethical behavior, leadership will find it in return from those that they lead. The balancing act between ethics and corruption is one every public servant will walk. But having your feet firmly planted with ethics and character will lead to success and public trust. Start with ethical people and train regularly to keep them that way. Weed out the bad apples and always assess how you are doing, then make adjustments when necessary. This will lead to a successful career making ethical decisions using your discretion.